If you're about to hire another technician in your company, you need to watch this first, because that might actually be a mistake. And although it feels like the right thing, and although it feels exciting, like you're growing and that's the right thing to do in your business, it might be the exact wrong thing to do right now. A lot of companies have a capacity issue. And so we look at tons of companies. I've reviewed over 300 pest control companies over the last 12 months, and we've analyzed everything: technicians, services, routes, scheduling, billing, prices, everything. And we've seen what works and what doesn't. And we've seen why companies plateau and scale and hit different stages throughout their growth. One key thing we see is that most companies don't have great capacity. And what that looks like is people are running all over the place, techs feel maxed out, the owner feels maxed out, and they keep hiring more and more and more when margins are getting thinner and thinner and thinner. So I'm gonna walk you through exactly how you can increase your capacity in your company so you can actually do more with less. And so you probably don't need to hire right now, so you can actually be more profitable as you scale. Three of the most common areas that we see this when we look at companies is, first off, technicians cross over each other with their routes. So let's say you have 10 technicians. And I'm just gonna take 2 techs, for example. So tech 1 starts up here, tech 2 starts down here for those route that day. And as they go throughout the day, it looks like this. They cross over, and they do 5, 8, 10 houses total, but they're crossing over each other all the time. And that just multiplies the more techs you have. And so if you look at your map and you look at your CRM and all the houses that were done yesterday, it looks like a legit spider web. It's really, really messy. You might not realize it. The way you're doing scheduling has been really inefficient and ineffective for a long, long time, but no one knows better in your company. And so it has become this thing, and now technicians are driving a lot. And so you end up paying your techs to basically just drive. There's a report that you can pull in most CRMs that shows you how much of my technicians' time that I paid them for was spent driving. And if you haven't found that report, go find that in your CRM, because it's pretty eye-opening for most companies. For a lot of companies, it's between 50 and 60%. So just think, half of your pay for this guy went to him just driving. That should not be the case. You should be paying for that work that's getting done, for revenue that's being generated. You can't grow a company just paying someone to drive to a house. So you need to optimize your scheduling. I'll dive into that. The second area that we see it is services that are happening way too frequently. So either monthly services that could be happening bi-monthly, or bi-monthly services that could be happening quarterly. So by going too often to service homes, you're limiting the capacity of your route. If you switch from one to the other, so monthly to bi-monthly or bi-monthly to quarterly, you immediately add 50% more capacity to your routes. So now a technician can take on almost twice as many houses before you need to hire another guy or buy another truck. So make sure you're not servicing too often. The third one, most companies are servicing interiors way too often. So if you've been in business for a long time, you see this. You have a lot of customers who basically demand and request that you do the inside every single time. This creates chaos in the office and for technicians. So for your office team, they spend a ton of time just calling and scheduling customers. We were auditing a company, we were looking at their scheduling, and they had someone in their company whose legit role was just scheduling those customers, just calling every single day to schedule those houses because they needed to be home every single time. And they were old school, so they couldn't text. It was a mess. So make sure that's not the case. But the second thing that happens is it's a mess for the technicians too. So on one hand, you have an office person who's calling all the time, getting all these routes perfectly scheduled for every single person based on when they're going to be home and able to do the inside. Then once it's finalized, your technician goes out. He does 1 or 2 houses, gets to the third house, they're not home. He sits, he waits 20, 30 minutes. He's like, I got to go to the next house. Goes to the next one, and then the other customer calls back, hey, I'm finally home. Then he goes back. There's a domino effect of it just throwing off the entire route and messing up the entire day. Again, that spider web happens of just driving all over the place, and you end up paying a ton of windshield time. So what happens is the owner then sees, and he feels that techs are at capacity, so we need to hire another tech, or I need to get in the truck. So the owner himself or herself gets in the truck and starts running routes. You start doing services and you start spraying houses, and it just feels like, oh, we got to hire someone. We need to get more leads. We need more growth because we're just maxed out right now. When it all comes back to capacity and your routes and your services, you don't have a lead problem. You don't have a problem with more customers or more revenue. It's you have a capacity problem. So as you zoom back, look at your company, and you want to look at your company as a machine. Your company is a machine, and it can take on more work. The goal is, how much more can my company do with no more cost? So in a very specific example, think of your office admin. How many more customers can this person take on before I hire another office person? If you can only take on 1,000 customers per office admin, that's not good capacity. If you can take on 5,000 or 10,000 customers, that'd be amazing. So think of that for technicians, for office people, for salespeople. How much more can we bring on for trucks, for chemicals, for gas, in all your expenses? How much more can we do with no more expenses? That is one of the ultimate growth hacks of being able to do more with the same cost, and you can outpace your competitors who need to spend more to get to where you're at. So just some quick math for you to really paint this picture here. So if your company was to have 10 technicians and those 10 techs each did 10 stops per day, then you're at 100 stops per day. With just a couple small tweaks, if you were to get each of those routes to 12 stops per day. So just make a couple tweaks, more efficient with your routing, less time at the house, or more time at the house but less drive time, or less interiors. So just 2 stops per day per tech more, which is really not much. You can do a lot more than that. But you get everyone up to 12. Now you're up to 120 stops per day. So you essentially just got 2 free technicians. They're still working the same amount of time, same gas, same chemicals, same everything, but you got 2 extra technicians because you're getting 20 more stops per day. So before you hire anyone else, do the math on that. Find where can we squeeze in more? Where can we be more efficient so we can do more with what we currently have? You likely don't need to hire anyone else, and you're likely overstaffed right now as is. You might feel maxed out, but you're likely overstaffed. And if you can change things, optimize things in your business, you can do way more with your current tech team. We looked at a company, we saw that they thought they needed to hire another technician. I showed them, hey, you're actually overstaffed by 1 extra tech. You likely don't need to hire anyone else right now, and you can probably get rid of one of them. Here's how to do scheduling. Here's how to do everything else. And by the end of the time together, he realized, you're right, we don't need anyone else, and we like our overstaffed right now. So we can just grow, or we can get more accounts, but you're right, we don't need to hire anyone. So make sure to look at those things before you hire. When this is done right and when it's fixed in your company, it looks like this. Number one, you have scheduling super optimized and down to basically a science, but it's super simple. So right now, scheduling might be taking you 20, 30 hours per week, or someone in your team. That all can be done in 1 or 2 hours per month. If you use your CRM the right way, if you use all the tools in there, and if you are proactive with scheduling your customers, rather than being reactive and giving them all the chances of asking when you want us to come, when's best for you, when can we do the inside, be proactive, schedule the routes, optimize it based on what's best for you, your trucks and your techs and your scheduling. Then you send them the time and you tell them, hey, here's when we're going to come. If you're home, we can do the inside. If not, we'll come back another time for the inside. You can pump out way more services per day. And the key here is those services will actually be longer services and you're doing more. So because drive time will be so low now, guys will stay at the house for 30 or 40 minutes. It's not just gonna be 10 or 15 minutes. It's not that kind of service. You're gonna do a premium service. You're gonna be there way longer, and they're gonna be doing more services. So you can charge more because you're doing more at the house. And now you're also doing more per day. So revenue per route will go way up. That's the kind of growth you need to find in your company. How can I do more, make more, and also get more from the customers at the same time? So scheduling will be optimized. You'll do more with less. You'll also start making more from all your routes, and that'll add to a lot more profit dropping to the bottom line. And now you have way more room to add more customers without any chaos or anything breaking in the company. So you don't need to buy another truck. You don't need to hire anyone else. You don't need any other equipment. With your current routes, you can add 10 to 20% more to your customer base. And you might think to yourself, I don't have any more leads coming in right now. I don't have anything to fill that. That's totally fine. You can just go upsell current customers, or do some reactivations, or use your current customer base to get out and do more, do some free inspections. There's a lot you can do with your current base. So free up all the capacity, you'll be making way more, and you can charge more at the same time and now have more room to grow. And the key here is you will finally be off the truck. So if you're still running routes, if you're hopping in 1 or 2 times per week, this is the key to get the owner out of the truck completely, because everything is dialed in and optimized so that you're not jumping in because routes aren't maxed anymore. We had a client we work with where we looked at his routes and he was actively trying to hire another tech. He was also in the truck and they felt super maxed out. We peeled everything back. We looked at all his routes and we figured out we can actually double your capacity real quick. So we optimized his routing and he went from servicing roughly 6 to 7 houses per day per tech to 13 to 14. They were driving all over the city, crossing over routes, and we made sure there was regions assigned. People were in specific regions, and that helped a ton. The second thing is we also shifted everything to quarterly based. So he was doing a ton of monthlies, ton of bi-monthlies. Things were scattered. So we got a quarterly based service that was premium, so you could charge more, and now you're going way less often. And so if you're going monthly, techs can only do like 200 to 250 services per tech. If you're going quarterly, that number is 650 plus. So literally 3 times the capacity by reducing the service frequency, but still getting the customers a really good service. That's the key. A lot of time at the house, really good chemicals, covering the entire property. You can go quarterly and get them way more. So we freed that up. Now all of his technicians had 2 times more capacity. He was fully out of the truck, and now the owner himself can finally scale his business because he's not in the truck all day. And he's not now paying technicians just to be sitting in the truck. You're paying for revenue being generated. You're paying for work being done. So anytime you're thinking about hiring a technician, before you do that, look at your routes. How can I get more per route? How can I get more per tech? What can I do with my routing, my scheduling, my frequency, my services? What can I change to free up more capacity? And view your business as a machine. How much more can I do with no more cost? Can I be more efficient with chemicals? Can I be more efficient with my routing and save money on gas, or do more with the same gas cost? Can I not hire any more technicians, but still add 10 or 20, 30% more customers? If you can do that, that adds a ton of profit to your company, so you can eventually afford way more and way faster growth, rather than having slim margins this entire time and just always hiring. Routes are slammed, but the bank account is just really slim the entire time. So don't fall into that trap. If this has been helpful, leave a like, leave a comment, send this to another pest control owner who might need this or find it helpful, and I'll see you in the next episode.